Days after Travis Kelce's wedding, Chiefs players are finally speaking out. But instead of talking about the celebration, they're all focused on one moment that has divided fans and raised plenty of questions. Let me break it down. Let's set the scene first because the scale of this thing is what makes the fallout make sense. Kelce and Swift picked Madison Square Garden, an indoor arena in the middle of Manhattan, as their venue, and according to the Wikipedia entry on the event, Swift and Kelce picked MSG as their wedding venue for its large, secure, and private space. With an intimate rehearsal dinner on July 2, with 100 guests at the Infosys Theater, followed by an extravagant ceremony on the arena floor on July 3, attended by about 1,000 friends and colleagues. Adam Sandler officiated. Jason Kelce stood up as best man, Austin Swift as Taylor's man of honor. No bridesmaids, no groomsmen, just family in the two most important spots. Paul McCartney, Stevie Nicks, Ciara, and Fergie all performed. Now here's where it gets interesting for the Chiefs specifically. CBS News reported that the couple had no bridesmaids or groomsmen, with Austin Swift serving as her man of honor and Jason Kelce serving as Kelce's best man. And in terms of who actually walked through those doors, this wasn't a small football contingent. Reports listed a long line of current and former Chiefs at the venue, and one summary noted that among the guests in attendance were Chiefs head coach Andy Reid and wife Tammy Reid, quarterback Patrick Mahomes and wife Brittany Mahomes, and George Karlaftis and wife Kaya Karlaftis, among many others. Add in names like Chris Jones, Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, Creed Humphrey, Blake Bell, and former Chiefs receiver Juju Smith-Schuster, who showed up alongside Super Bowl champion Cooper Kupp and George Kittle from outside the organization entirely. So on paper, this looks like the entire Chiefs family showed up to celebrate their guy. Reid himself confirmed it after the fact, telling a local outlet that they enjoyed the wedding, calling it spectacular. He even praised Swift's planning, saying he knows how weddings go, and it's normally not the groom doing the planning, so he gives Taylor a lot of credit for putting together a beautiful venue and wedding, well planned out. But one name is conspicuously missing from every single guest list, every red carpet photo dump, every Who Showed Up article. Harrison Butker, the Chiefs kicker, a guy who has lined up next to Kelce on that roster since 2017. And according to multiple outlets, citing an NFL source, Harrison Butker was reportedly the only Kansas City Chiefs teammate denied an invitation to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift's massive New York City wedding, despite being teammates with Kelce since 2017, with every other player on the team believed to have received an invite. That's not a scheduling conflict. That's not a he had a family thing. That's a guy who suits up in the same building every single Sunday, getting left off a list that included Tom Brady, Mike Vrabel, and half the sports and entertainment industry combined. And the moment that detail got out, it stopped being a footnote about a wedding. It became the story Chiefs players couldn't stop texting each other about. The reaction inside the building wasn't quiet, either. One anonymous Chiefs player told the Daily Mail flatly that the wedding invite drama has sparked locker room chaos, with the decision not to invite Harrison Butker leading to snippy text messages in various group chats. Another player, describing the mood, said the fallout landed in threads across the roster, admitting that the situation led to snipey texts in team group chats. A third source put it even more bluntly, saying lots of texts are going around the team, and some people who are close to Harrison feel like he was snubbed. 3 different players, 3 separate conversations with reporters, all circling the same guy, Butker. So before we even get to the vows, the toasts, or the celebrity guest list, this is the version of the story that's actually consuming the Chiefs locker room right now. A teammate who wasn't there, and 30-some other guys arguing about why. To understand why one snub turned into a full-blown group chat war, you have to rewind to May of 2024, more than a year before any of this wedding planning started. Butker gave a commencement address at Benedictine College, a small Catholic school, and it did not stay small for long. In the speech, he spent roughly 20 minutes on what he called society's lies to women, and one line in particular went everywhere. He told the graduating class that, "I think it is you, the women, who have had the most diabolical lies told to you," adding that most of them were probably more excited about marriage and children than any career. That's the same commencement speech where Butker took aim at what he called several diabolical lies told to women, regarding topics like abortion, surrogacy, and IVF. A stretch of the speech that took just over 20 minutes, and touched several diabolical lies told to women regarding topics such as abortion, surrogacy, and in vitro fertilization. The backlash was immediate and it was massive. It wasn't a few tweets, it turned into an actual campaign. with reports noting that about 160,000 people signed a petition asking the Kansas City Chiefs to remove him from the team. That's not internet noise. That's a documented six-figure petition aimed at his job. Now, here's the part that matters for the wedding drama. Kelce didn't stay silent about it either. On his own podcast, New Heights, which he co-hosts with his brother Jason, Travis addressed the speech directly. He said on the show that when it comes to Butker's views and what he said at the commencement speech, those are his. And Kelce couldn't say he agreed with the majority of it, or just about any of it, outside of Butker loving his family and his kids. Jason Kelce, sitting right next to him, backed that up, saying plainly that the things Butker said in the commencement speech are not things he aligns himself with. But Butker was giving a commencement speech at a Catholic university, and shocker, it ended up being a very religious speech. So you had public daylight between Kelce and Butker over a year before the wedding even got planned. That's not something that just evaporates. And when the guest list dropped and Butker's name wasn't on it, plenty of people connected the dots instantly. One report floated it directly, suggesting Butker's speech became a considerable problem for the franchise given its large female following tied to Swift, and that the couple may have chosen to leave the kicker off the list to avoid a headache, though that link remains speculation. Inside the locker room, though, players weren't speculating about PR optics. They were arguing about loyalty and friendship. One anonymous player, defending the decision, laid out the logic in plain terms to the Daily Mail. He said the wedding wasn't a team event, it was personal, and pointed out that a few people think Kelce and Swift should have invited Butker explicitly, but really why, since Butker came at Swift first, and it was kind of shade in the speech, even if aimed at a general audience. That same player pushed back on the idea that teammates owe each other wedding invites at all, arguing that since when are you required to invite everyone to a wedding? These guys act like coworkers, not friends, chill with each other at work but never really going to hang out outside of it. He went further, framing the whole thing as scale, not snub, saying there are plenty of weddings where the entire team isn't invited. The only difference here was that this one was basically the royal wedding. That's the split right there. Some players see a guy getting iced out for saying something ugly about the bride. Other players see a normal, ordinary thing, not inviting a coworker to your wedding, that only looks scandalous because 1,000 cameras were pointed at it. Both sides are talking, neither side is backing down. And Butker himself hasn't said a word publicly about any of it, which, as you're about to hear, might be the loudest silence in the entire story. Here's where this stops being a report says and starts feeling like an actual lived-in mess, because multiple players described the mechanics of how this played out in real time, texting each other, sometimes without even realizing who was in the thread. One player broke down just how fractured the Chiefs' internal communication actually is. He told a reporter that the roster doesn't operate off one big group chat. It's dozens of smaller ones, split by position, by friend group, by whatever. He said, "It's not like all of us are in the same group chat. The team is too big, so there are groups that might just be defense or a certain group of guys." And that fragmentation mattered here, because it meant players had to actively think about who could see what. Another Chiefs player admitted outright that guys were self-censoring depending on which chain Kelce himself was part of. He said, "I have chains that have Travis on them, and chains that don't. You always have to check to make sure you're sending to the right chain. There have been times where you'll talk shh about someone and then realize they are in the group and have to laugh it off." That's the level of care guys were taking, actively managing which chat could see their honest reaction. And by his own account, most of the real chatter happened in the chains Kelce wasn't part of. He said, "I think most of the texts about the wedding are probably being sent in the groups without Travis," and described one chain of about 8 guys where, before the wedding, the conversation was just who's going, everyone reporting where they were staying or why they weren't. Because here's a detail that gets lost in all the Butker noise. A lot of guys who were invited still didn't go. This wasn't universal attendance even among the invited. One source told reporters that probably less than half of the team attended Kelce's wedding, with a lot of players RSVPing no. Not because of anything bad, but because of a conflict. One player was candid about his own reason, saying he skipped it because he personally chose not to attend, as he didn't want to spend July 4th in New York and couldn't bring his children along for the trip. So attendance wasn't some clean binary of cool with Kelce versus snubbed by Kelce. Plenty of guys just had their own July 4th plans. But the Butker thread cut differently than logistics chatter, because it wasn't about scheduling, it was about a guy getting frozen out. One player described the moment the news actually landed inside a group chat that Butker himself was part of. He said, "Yeah, there are a few group texts. I'm on one with Harrison Butker. Someone sent a news story about him not being invited, and the group was like, WTF, but he didn't reply." Sit with that for a second. The kicker was in the group chat when the story about his own exclusion got shared, and he just didn't respond. No defense, no joke, no it's whatever. Nothing. Multiple teammates reportedly reached out to him directly after that, based on reporting that Butker's no-show became a topic of conversation in Chiefs player group chats, with several teammates even reaching out to the 30-year-old. And it wasn't just current teammates fired up about this. Former players who'd shared that locker room piled on too. Two retired NFL veterans, once part of that world, spoke publicly almost immediately. Reports noted that on the Monday after the nuptials, ex-NFL players Taylor Lewan and Will Compton expressed their dissatisfaction at the lack of an invite, with Lewan wondering if it was a personal shot fired by Kelce, and Compton admitting it left him upset. Compton specifically didn't hide his reaction. He was described as having publicly voiced his disbelief after realizing he didn't get a seat, with one summary noting that retired NFL linebacker Will Compton publicly expressed his utter disbelief after realizing he did not secure a coveted invitation. So now you've got current Chiefs texting about it, a retired linebacker openly flabbergasted about it, and the kicker himself going radio silent in the very chat, discussing his own exclusion. That's three completely different reactions to the exact same news, all playing out within days of each other. And every single player who spoke to reporters made sure to add one thing on the record. Nobody's actually mad at Kelce. One source insisted, "I don't think anyone on the team wishes Kelce anything but good things. Everyone likes him. He's a good teammate and a good friend. There's locker room sheshti, but it's nothing disrespectful." That's the tension running through this whole thing. Real chatter, real sides being taken, but every single player stopping short of actually turning on the groom. It's messy. It's just not hostile yet. While one name dominated the group chats, it's worth remembering what actually happened for the roughly half of the roster that did make the trip, because their reactions tell a completely different side of this story. One of genuine excitement, not tension. Patrick Mahomes is the obvious place to start, given he's been front and center for this entire relationship since it started. He and Brittany Mahomes attended, and Patrick eventually posted photos from the night, though notably none of the bride and groom themselves, that appeared to be locked down under strict rules, since reports noted Mahomes shared some photos from the wedding, not offering any sneak peeks of Kelce and Swift themselves, which appeared to be strictly prohibited under the couples and venues rules. Instead, he showed off the outfit, a navy blue tuxedo while Brittany wore sky blue. He kept the caption simple, just a white heart emoji. But it's what Mahomes said about the relationship over the years that actually explains why he was one of the first calls Kelce and Swift made after the engagement. Mahomes has talked before about watching Swift and Kelce's bond develop up close, saying it's been awesome to see their relationship grow, calling Taylor a great person, who's top tier at her profession, someone whose drive he's gotten a first-hand look at through Brittany and Travis's eyes. And when the actual proposal happened, Mahomes wasn't even the first call. Brittany was. He explained it to reporters afterward. "They didn't call me. They called Brittany, and I was in the back of the FaceTime," adding, "I'm obviously super excited." That's a genuinely different energy than the Butker thread. This is a guy who's been in the inner circle the whole time, not someone left parsing a snub. And it wasn't just Mahomes bringing that energy. Andy Reid, the head coach, showed up with his wife Tammy and made sure everyone knew how he felt about it days later. Speaking to a local outlet, Reid didn't hold back, saying the event was outright spectacular, telling reporters, "We enjoyed the wedding. The wedding was spectacular," and crediting Swift specifically for pulling off a wedding of that scale, while the groom, by his own admission, likely wasn't doing much of the planning. Then there's the lighter side of all this, because not every pre-wedding headline out of the Chiefs camp was about Butker. Mahomes actually stirred up his own mini controversy days before the ceremony, in an interview that had nothing to do with snubs and everything to do with old-fashioned locker room ribbing. Asked in a magazine interview which teammate he'd actually want to take on vacation, most people assumed he'd say Kelce automatically. Instead, Mahomes joked his way past his longtime tight end, saying obviously the easy answer is Travis, but now that he's getting a little older, I'm going to go with one of the young guys, continuing, Xavier Worthy, he's always having a good time. He golfs now, and I golf a lot. And my kids love seeing him because he's fast. It's the kind of jab that only works between two guys who trust each other completely. And it underlines something important about this whole story. The Chiefs' locker room clearly has room for two things happening at once: genuine, unresolved tension over one exclusion, and completely normal, affectionate ribbing among the guys, who showed up and had a blast. George Karlaftis and his wife were there. Creed Humphrey and his fiancée were there. Blake Bell brought his wife. Chris Jones showed up. This wasn't a fractured team standing awkwardly at a reception. By every account, most of the guys who made the trip had the time of their lives, non-disclosure agreements, and no phone rules aside. Because that's another wrinkle worth mentioning. This wasn't a wedding where guests could just pull out their phones and start posting. Reports indicated guests were also reportedly required to sign non-disclosure agreements, with a strict no-phones policy also said to have been in place. That's part of why so much of what leaked out came from anonymous sources, talking to reporters after the fact rather than a flood of Instagram stories in real time. The wedding itself was locked down tight. The fallout, though, that leaked out everywhere, through texts, through anonymous quotes, through retired players who had nothing to lose by saying exactly how they felt. So what happens now? Training camp is coming, and that's the piece every single report on this keeps circling back to. Because a locker room full of unresolved side-eye doesn't just disappear. Once players are back in the same building every day. One insider was direct about the timing, noting that training camp looms in just a few weeks, and some players appear eager for the potential drama to unfold once everyone returns. That's not nothing. That's players themselves anticipating this conversation isn't done. It's just paused. Another source described the overall vibe as almost juvenile, comparing the back and forth to something out of a school hallway, noting one source compared the team dynamics to high school gossip at times. But here's the thing that keeps coming up in literally every single account of this story, from every anonymous player who's spoken to a reporter. Nobody thinks this breaks the team. One player, asked directly about the tension, made a point of separating the noise from any real damage, saying flatly that Kelce is fine with the guys, adding Travis Kelce received widespread support from most teammates. Reports characterize the whole Butker situation as a minor subplot next to everything else the team has going on. And most observers expect exactly what usually happens with locker room drama once football actually starts. It fades. One outlet put it simply: most observers expect the locker room to move past the wedding chatter quickly, once practices begin in earnest. That's probably right. Football has a way of swallowing everything else once pads go on. But it's worth sitting with what actually happened here, because it's rare to get this much unfiltered detail into how a modern NFL locker room actually operates behind the group chats and the group photos. You had a genuinely massive, historic celebrity wedding, the kind with Paul McCartney playing music, and 1,000 guests and NYPD security shutting down city blocks. And even inside that spectacle, the thing that dominated actual conversation among players wasn't the McCartney set or the Sandler officiating. It was one teammate, quietly left off a list, going silent in his own group chat when the story broke. Butker never said a word publicly about any of it. Not a statement, not a podcast appearance, not a tweet. In a story with this many voices, Mahomes joking around, Reed gushing about the venue, anonymous players defending the decision, retired players saying they were stunned, teammates literally messaging Butker directly to check on him. The loudest silence belongs to the one guy at the center of it. Whether that's dignity, discomfort, or just Butker, being Butker, nobody around the team seems totally sure. What is clear is that when players finally walk back into the Chiefs' facility for camp, this is the conversation waiting for them. Not as a scandal, but as the thing everybody already knows happened, and nobody's fully said out loud yet. Sources: Total Pro Sports Chiefs group chat wedding invite drama. The Mirror. Travis Kelce rocks Chiefs locker room. 1,926,251. The Blast. Chiefs group chats explode. 815,763. Travis Kelce teammates trash Taylor wedding snub. Columbia, Missourian. Chiefs teammates of Travis Kelce and others around sports attend his wedding to Taylor Swift. AOL. Travis Kelce rocks Chiefs locker room. 942,000. Total Pro Sports. Messy locker room drama. The Mirror. Teammates blowing up group chats, 1,926,284. Yahoo Chiefs players who attended wedding, 180,608,283. Online, symbolism behind wedding date and location, 1,433,367. Taylor Swift Travis Kelce's wedding location date, meaning symbolism. Wikipedia, wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. CNN, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce tie the knot. 2026, 7/3. CBS News marriage ceremony officiated by Adam Sandler. Daily Wire, conservative Chiefs, kicker snubbed. AOL, controversial Chiefs star only teammate not invited, 45,403,000. Essentially Sports, Kelce leaves Chiefs star off guest list. Yahoo Sports, fans react to Butker snub, 174,974,929,214. The Mirror, controversial Chiefs star only teammate not invited, 1,920,113. Operation Sports, Harrison Butker only Chiefs teammate not invited. College Football Network, fans react to Butker snub. Total Pro Sports, Mahomes takes shot at Kelce. Yahoo, Mahomes posts photos from wedding, 155,706,907. Heavy, Mahomes shares photos from wedding. Bleacher Report, Mahomes posts photos from wedding weekend, 25,451,365. The Mirror, Mahomes rare glimpse into wedding, 1,921,657. Men's Journal, Mahomes posts photos